We are back with the political firestorm over 5 Trump allies in Congress getting subpoenaed by the January 6th committee. Leader Kevin McCarthy saying the panel is going after political opponents. Remember, he removed Liz Cheney from a leadership post for trying to find the facts. And that was after a leaked tape revealing him telling Cheney he would ask Trump to resign. Cheney saying it was not a decision that was taken lightly, and they have critically important information about the insurrection. Here's Congressman Biggs on his subpoena.
Will you comply with the subpoena?
Well, I think this is an illegitimate committee.
Does that mean that you will not comply with the subpoena?
Well, I haven't even seen the subpoena. I haven't seen the subpoena. You have. Doesn't that indicate something to you? It indicates a whole hell of a lot to me.
Have you thought about submitting evidence to your constituents and to the public that exonerate you from the claims the committee has staked against you?
Geez, so you're asking me to submit to prove a negative.
And so we heard that word legitimate again, but Trump's own family cooperated with interviews. Here's how it's playing out on right-wing TV network.
The hysteria around the January 6th protests continues, reaching new levels of insanity among the radical left. It's a story that's been thoroughly debunked repeatedly, and yet Democrats and the mainstream media can't get enough of telling Americans how Trump supporters nearly brought down democracy in a violent attack on the Capitol. Nothing could be further from the truth.
Joining me now, Michael Steele, former RNC chair and MSNBC political analyst. Michael, I have already covered the legalese of this. How do you see it playing out politically?
Politically, it's a hot potato. There's no doubt about it. Look, the committee has thrown down the gauntlet. Now, the question is, what is the value of a subpoena? You know, do they back it up? You know, a lot of these same folks that you have on Fox and elsewhere around the party screaming about, you know, no one is above the law and, you know, we got to, you know, adhere to the Constitution, are the first one to say, well, I'm not going to follow the subpoena. Of course. I mean, that's the point. So here you are at this moment where the party has to decide, how do we deal with this politically? Whereas the committee is sitting there and looks, there is no politics here. The law is the law. You're not above it. Appear. Now, the question is, will they enforce that as they would against any other citizen who was subpoenaed? The second point was the point you just came into this conversation about, is the rest of the Trump family showed up. So I don't know what Kevin McCarthy and Biggs and all these other folks are complaining about. So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out in terms of enforcing it and the resistance to that enforcement.
Michael, I want to play some sound from Leader McCarthy today and get your thoughts. Take a listen.
My view on the committee has not changed. They're not conducting a legitimate investigation. It seems as though they just want to go after their political opponents. But the one thing that has changed in America, higher inflation that we haven't seen since the 70s, unsecured border, gas prices, and now we don't have baby formula.
Okay, so I subject you to that sound because you and I have been in politics long enough. We have watched enough politicians to know when a pivot is way too sharp and way too focus group, right? It's like, it's illegitimate. I'm going to make that claim. I'm going to make you distrust this thing. And then I'm going to go right back to my talking points about what I want to be talking about instead. It just reads to me as wildly transparent.
Oh, it is transparent. I mean, look, I'm going to go start with the BS. I'm going to pivot off of that into something that we're doing nothing about. So that's what that was. It was all gobbledygook. It means nothing because, one, you don't get to say what's legitimate or illegitimate if it was duly constituted under the rules and the organization of the United States Congress. So I'm sorry. I don't care if you are a member. You don't get to claim that. And then, two, you're going to pivot to all this laundry list of stuff that Republicans haven't put a solution on the table to deal with. So the public is sitting there and going, okay, back to the subpoenas, because that's the thing that's right in front of you. And no matter how much you put out the talking point to call it the commission work illegitimate and to try to pivot to inflation and all of that, you're still going to have to account for what happened on January 6th. And it takes me back to my first point. If this commission is not prepared to enforce the subpoena that they have put out there on the street today, then they might as well just close up shop and go home, because everything after that, if you don't enforce it, becomes harder to prove to the American people that you're serious about getting to the bottom of this.
I would also add to your analysis that when you talk about January 6th as something that happened in the past, a threat that was, it misses the piece of this which is most critical and urgent, which is this is an ongoing threat. These are people who are in powerful decision-making positions right now, and they're still getting to do their jobs in spite of what they did, right? To me, if you were trying to message this to a voter who maybe has not been paying as much attention as our viewers have, that suddenly becomes much more critical than something that happened a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it is. And you make an excellent point there, because the reality still remains that if you're going to go into this space, how you frame this, it matters. And the problem for the framing for Republicans at this point is we saw it. We witnessed it. So there are very few Americans, regardless of where they are on the political spectrum, who can say at this point they have no idea when they hear the term January 6th what people are talking about. Nor can they say, I don't have an opinion on it. And that's the part that makes it much more difficult, because at the end of the day, everyone does have an opinion. So from the political space, how the Democrats outside of the commission frame that narrative going into the fall, because this is the question, Alicia, when you're going to November election. Do you want to give the power back to the guys and the gals who almost overthrew the government, who claimed that there was no legitimate election taking place, that it was fraud? So that's the question before the voters, and that framing is going to matter over the course of the summer and into the fall.
Right. They didn't just threaten our democracy. They continue to threaten our democracy. Michael Steele, as always, good to see you ahead.